Good morning, everyone. Let me ask you something simple but powerful. What did you do with your 24 hours yesterday? No, really. Think. Be honest with yourself, because the answer to that one question will tell you everything about where your life is going. Let's stop blaming society. Stop blaming the economy. Stop saying you don't have enough money, connections, or luck. You have something more valuable than all of those. Time. The richest person in the world wakes up with 24 hours. The poorest person in the world wakes up with the same 24 hours. The question is, what do you do with it? Time is the fairest resource on earth because it is the only asset that is distributed equally to every human being, regardless of race, background, wealth, or status. No matter who you are, whether you're a billionaire or a person struggling to get by, you wake up each day with exactly 24 hours. You cannot buy more time. You cannot borrow time, and you cannot store it for later use. This makes time the most democratic resource available to all. The rich don't get more of it, and the poor don't get less. The difference lies in how it is used, not how it is given. Unlike money, time cannot be inherited. You can inherit a fortune. You can be born into privilege. You can be handed opportunities, but not one person can give you an extra hour in your day. That makes it not only fair, but also final. When time passes, it does not return. Once a moment is gone, it is gone forever. This makes the use of time more critical than any other factor in success. Some people build empires with their 24 hours. Others destroy potential in the same time frame. The difference isn't the time itself, it's the intention, the decisions, and the discipline applied to it. People often think success is about money, connections, or talent. But if you look closely at the lives of the most successful individuals, you'll realize that what they truly mastered was time. They respect it. They protect it. They do not waste it on things that don't matter. Every hour is seen as an investment, a currency they are constantly trading for growth, learning, productivity, and long-term impact. They plan their days with clarity and purpose. They cut distractions not because they are robots, but because they understand that the cost of lost time is greater than any other cost. In contrast, those who struggle to make progress often treat time as something they have plenty of. They procrastinate. They wait for perfect moments. They fill their schedules with tasks that feel urgent but are not important. They live in reaction mode rather than creation mode. The result, days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and eventually they wonder why others have moved so far ahead. The truth is harsh, but simple. Time misused is opportunity lost. It is the one thing that cannot be replaced, refunded, or repaired. Time is also the great equalizer of opportunity. While you may not start life with equal education or environment, your time can still be used to close the gap. A person with limited resources can still choose to read, to study, to build skills, to connect with others, and to work diligently toward a vision. The person who uses time with focus and direction will eventually outperform the one who has resources but no discipline. Time doesn't respond to potential, it responds to how it's applied. That's why you often see highly successful people who came from nothing, because they turned their 24 hours into bricks of effort, stacked daily, to build something lasting. Another reason time is the fairest resource is because it forces accountability. You can lie to others, you can make excuses, but time always tells the truth. If you invest time in health, your body shows it. If you invest time in learning, your mind reflects it. If you neglect to use time wisely, the results expose it. There is no hiding from time. It shows in your habits, in your results, in your relationships, and in your peace of mind. This makes time both a gift and a judge, giving you the space to build, but also measuring your consistency over it. Time also reveals what people truly value. Where you spend your hours is a direct mirror of what you believe is important. If someone says they care about success but spends 3 hours a day scrolling through distractions, their time tells a different story. This honesty makes time a more accurate reflection of a person's character than their words or even their intentions. Time usage is the ultimate indicator of priority. Successful people prioritize, not multitask, because they understand that doing many things at once does not mean getting more done. It often means getting less done with lower quality. The modern world celebrates being busy, and multitasking has become a badge of honor. People take pride in checking emails during meetings, texting while brainstorming, or juggling multiple tasks throughout the day. But successful individuals know that this mindset is not a strength, it's a trap. Multitasking divides focus, drains mental energy, and results in fragmented outcomes. Prioritization, on the other hand, demands clarity, intention, and discipline. And it leads to real progress. When you multitask, your attention is split. The brain doesn't truly handle tasks simultaneously. It switches back and forth between them. This switch comes at a cost. Every time you change tasks, your mind needs time to refocus, to reprocess, to re-engage. These microseconds of shifting add up over hours and days, leading to mental fatigue and shallow work. Multitasking often leads to more mistakes, overlooked details, and missed opportunities for deep insight. Successful people avoid this by putting their energy into one task at a time, giving it their full focus and extracting its full value before moving on to the next. Prioritization is about recognizing that not all tasks are equal. Some things move you forward, others just keep you busy. Successful people spend time identifying which activities produce the highest impact and align most closely with their goals. They often start the day by tackling the most important, not the easiest or most urgent task. This is because they understand the principle of leverage. Some actions, when done well, have the power to create momentum in multiple areas. Rather than scattering their efforts across a dozen minor things, they concentrate on the one or two major things that matter most. There's also a psychological advantage to prioritization. Focusing on one task at a time increases your chances of entering a state of flow, a condition where work becomes immersive, focused, and efficient. In this state, creativity flows more naturally, insights emerge faster, and productivity feels almost effortless. Multitasking, in contrast, keeps your brain in a constant state of alertness and reorientation, which blocks this deeper, more valuable level of thinking. Successful people deliberately design their time and space to eliminate distractions so they can operate in this high-performance zone. Another key aspect of prioritization is saying no. Successful people know they cannot do everything, attend every meeting, or respond to every request. They are not afraid to decline, delegate, or defer. They treat their time like a limited asset and protect it fiercely. They don't chase every opportunity. They evaluate which ones are aligned with their purpose and long-term vision. They don't say yes out of guilt or pressure. They say yes with intention. This selective mindset ensures they are working on their life, not just in it. Multitasking also creates the illusion of progress. You feel active, your schedule is full, you're checking things off, but in reality, you may not be moving in the right direction. Successful people don't confuse motion with progress. They regularly pause, to review their priorities, to reassess whether what they're doing is still in alignment with their goals. This habit of reflection ensures they're not just busy, they're effective. They don't let noise drown out signal. They look for the one thing that, if done well, makes everything else easier or even unnecessary. And they give that one thing their full attention. In a world that rewards speed and constant connectivity, prioritization can seem countercultural, but successful people embrace this because they know that the real race is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with precision and presence. They have trained themselves to slow down when it counts, to focus deeply, and to complete what they start. This ability to prioritize over multitask is not natural. It's developed through practice, structure, and the courage to ignore distractions. Successful people build daily routines that reflect long-term goals because they understand that dreams are not achieved in a single leap, but through consistent, intentional steps taken over time. A long-term goal, whether it's building a business, mastering a skill, becoming financially independent, or improving health, cannot be reached by chance or in bursts of motivation. It requires a system. That system is the daily routine. Each day is a small piece of the larger picture, and successful individuals treat it as such. They design their days around the future they want, not the mood they're in. While most people wake up and allow the day to happen to them, successful people wake up and decide what the day will be about. They don't rely on random effort or scattered energy. They create structure around habits that align directly with what they want to achieve. If the goal is to build a powerful company, their daily routine includes focus blocks for strategic thinking, decision-making, and learning. If the goal is to become a world-class athlete, the routine includes physical training, recovery, and nutrition. Every action taken during the day is filtered through the lens of purpose. Long-term goals often feel far away and abstract, which is why many people struggle to stay committed to them. But successful people bring those goals into focus through daily action. They break them down into manageable chunks and insert those chunks into their calendars. Rather than waiting for a perfect time to work on their goals, they embed them into their routines so that progress becomes automatic. These routines become a form of discipline, turning vision into action and action into momentum. By doing this, they remove the friction of indecision and reduce the emotional resistance that often blocks people from starting. The power of a daily routine lies in its compounding effect. One good day might not seem like much, but 300 of them stacked back to back can transform someone's life. Successful people understand the value of this compound growth. They know that habits repeated daily, even when small, accumulate into massive results over time. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't look impressive, but over a year, it adds up to several books. Investing 30 minutes in learning a new skill each morning can turn into mastery. By anchoring long-term goals into daily habits, they ensure that no day is wasted and no effort is disconnected from their mission. These routines also create a sense of identity. A person who trains every morning starts to see themselves as disciplined. A person who writes every day starts to believe they are a writer. This shift in identity reinforces commitment to the goal. Successful people don't wait until they achieve something to act like they belong there. They structure their routines to become the kind of person who naturally achieves those things. Their consistency is not just about productivity. It's about alignment between who they are and who they are becoming. Flexibility exists within these routines, but the core structure remains intact. Successful people know that life brings changes, distractions, and challenges. But even when the environment shifts, they return to the anchor points in their routine that keep them focused. These include morning rituals, work sessions, learning time, reflection, and even rest. These elements are intentionally chosen, not randomly adopted. They are tested, refined, and protected. They are based on what works, not on what feels easy. This level of self-management also allows successful people to avoid burnout. Instead of sprinting and crashing, they pace themselves through routines that balance productivity with recovery. They treat energy as a resource to be managed, not abused. Their routines include time for sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mindfulness, not as luxuries, but as non-negotiables. This approach ensures sustainability, which is essential for long-term goals that may take years to fully realize. Successful people invest more time in learning than entertainment because they understand that the mind is a tool and sharpening it daily is essential for staying ahead. While entertainment offers short-term pleasure, learning offers long-term advantage. It builds perspective, skills, adaptability, and wisdom. The most accomplished individuals see knowledge not as a bonus, but as a responsibility. They treat learning as part of their job, an ongoing process that fuels innovation, problem-solving, and leadership. This doesn't mean they reject entertainment altogether, but they are intentional about how they spend their mental energy. When most people reach for distraction, they reach for development. In a world that constantly competes for attention, it's easy to slip into hours of passive content consumption, scrolling, streaming, watching without thinking. But successful people design their days around intellectual growth. They read books, listen to podcasts, engage in deep conversations, and study industries or disciplines beyond their own. They use quiet moments, waiting in line, commuting, taking breaks as opportunities to absorb knowledge rather than escape from thought. They don't treat learning as something left behind in school. They treat it as a lifelong practice that must be pursued with the same seriousness as work itself. Learning creates an edge. It sharpens decision-making, strengthens communication, and helps spot opportunities others miss. Successful individuals know that markets shift, technologies evolve, and knowledge becomes outdated quickly. Staying still means falling behind. That's why they read voraciously, ask questions often, and seek feedback constantly. They are less interested in being entertained and more interested in being educated. While others spend hours debating the latest show or viral video, they're reflecting on ideas that change industries, solve real problems, or spark their next breakthrough. Their commitment to learning also reflects a different relationship with time. They don't seek instant gratification. They are comfortable with slow, steady progress that pays off over years. Reading a difficult book or studying a complex topic might not feel exciting in the moment, but they understand that this type of work builds depth that translates into confidence, creativity, and capability. They're building a mind that is prepared, informed, and ready to lead. Entertainment, while relaxing, does not contribute to this preparation in the same way. That's why they are mindful of how much time they spend consuming versus creating, escaping versus engaging. Another reason they prioritize learning is because of what it does to their self-concept. Successful people are deeply aware that the best investment they can make is in themselves. Every skill they acquire, every insight they gain, every book they internalize increases their value. It makes them more adaptable, more persuasive, more strategic when challenges come. And they always do. They are better equipped to handle them, not because they're lucky, but because they've trained. They've prepared their minds like athletes prepare their bodies. This preparation doesn't happen in moments of crisis. It happens in quiet hours of disciplined learning. Entertainment, while not inherently bad, becomes a liability when it dominates attention. It offers escape, but often at the cost of progress. It stimulates, but rarely strengthens. Successful individuals are aware of this trade-off. They don't ban entertainment, they manage it. They may enjoy movies, music, or games, but they keep these activities in balance. Their default mode is learning, not distraction. Their curiosity drives them to explore subjects outside their comfort zone. They ask how things work, why they matter, and what they can learn from every experience. This mindset transforms even casual conversations into lessons and even failures into feedback. This learning-first approach is not a burden. It's a habit. Over time, it becomes natural. Choosing a documentary over a sitcom, a biography over a thriller, or a business podcast over comedy is no longer about discipline. It's about alignment with identity. They see themselves as learners, and so their choices reflect that identity without resistance. As they grow, so does their appetite for knowledge, leading to a virtuous cycle of input, insight, and impact. Successful people delegate and automate to free up mental space because they understand that time and attention are their most valuable resources. They know they cannot afford to spend their days bogged down by repetitive tasks, minor decisions, or responsibilities that others can handle just as well or better. Mental energy is limited, and every task, no matter how small, draws from that reserve. To perform at a high level, to make critical decisions, to solve complex problems, they need a clear and focused mind. Delegation and automation are not about doing less. They are about doing more of what matters most. Delegation is a strategic act. Successful people don't delegate just to get rid of tasks. They delegate to maximize effectiveness. They evaluate what must be done personally and what can be handed off to someone else. If a task doesn't require their unique insight, judgment, or creativity, they trust others to take it over. This requires humility, not just efficiency. It means accepting that they don't need to do everything themselves and that empowering others is a form of strength, not weakness. By giving others responsibility, they not only protect their own bandwidth, but also develop trust and capability within their teams. They also understand that delegation is not abdication. It doesn't mean walking away from accountability. It means creating systems, setting clear expectations, and allowing others to succeed. Whether it's an assistant handling scheduling, a team member managing a project, or a contractor performing technical work, successful people set up frameworks that support clarity and consistency. They invest time up front to ensure others can deliver well so they don't have to micromanage later. That initial investment pays off repeatedly and regain focus and reduce stress. Alongside delegation, they use automation as a silent partner in their productivity. Technology becomes a tool not just for communication or convenience, but for reclaiming attention. Automating routine tasks such as bill payments, calendar reminders, report generation, email sorting, data entry, or customer follow-up removes the need for human intervention in low-impact decisions. Successful individuals build systems that run without them. They use software, templates, and workflows that remove repetitive friction from their day. They don't reinvent the wheel every time. They set it in motion once and let it roll. Automation also serves a deeper purpose. It preserves decision-making power for high-leverage activities. The human brain can only make a certain number of high-quality decisions each day before fatigue sets in. By automating low-value choices, successful people keep their mental capacity reserved for innovation, leadership, and creativity. Even simple choices like what to wear or when to check emails are streamlined to reduce unnecessary cognitive load. Their goal is to eliminate distractions and interruptions that could dilute their focus from their most important priorities. Mental space is not a luxury. It's a prerequisite for high-level performance. Cluttered minds lead to cluttered results. When successful people clear their schedule of the non-essential, they also clear their mind of the noise that comes with it. They're not racing through tasks. They're thinking clearly, moving deliberately, and working with depth. Delegation and automation act as shields against overload. They create the quiet needed for strategic thought, the time needed for creative exploration, and the energy needed for making impactful decisions under pressure. The ability to delegate and automate also reflects a shift in mindset from being busy to being effective. It signals maturity in leadership and confidence in collaboration. Instead of trying to prove their worth by doing everything, successful people focus on doing the right things. They're not trying to be heroes. They're trying to build systems that scale, processes that run independently, and teams that think and act with ownership. In doing so, they multiply their impact without multiplying their stress. They trade control for clarity, effort for efficiency, and business for intentionality. In the end, what sets successful people apart is not more time. It's how they use the same 24 hours everyone else is given. They treat each hour with purpose, designing their days to reflect their long-term vision rather than reacting to the noise around them. Instead of multitasking, they prioritize what truly matters. They build routines that reinforce who they want to become, not just what they feel like doing. They read, study, and learn more than they consume passive entertainment, knowing that knowledge compounds over time. They delegate and automate low-value tasks, freeing their minds to focus on decisions that create impact. And above all, they protect their time like the precious asset it is, spending it where it generates growth, not just motion. Success doesn't come from having more hours. It comes from making better decisions within the hours you have. Every moment either builds toward a future you want or pulls you further from it. The difference is not in intelligence, luck, or background. It's in how consciously the day is lived. Successful people understand that time is life, and how they spend each day is ultimately how they spend their legacy.